Do you think there will be more indictments to come?
I think this is just the tip of the iceberg, quite frankly.
Okay. Because they did say in a press conference, they said that the investigation is ongoing with O Block and other gangs in the part of that city.
Yeah, I have and I know a little bit about this because I've got a colleague that's in Chicago, and he and I team up on cases from time to time. And we both know that there is an ongoing investigation on gangs in Chicago by the feds, tying them to other cities. And so, these are not little sentences. These guys are all looking at life without parole in a maximum federal facility. So this is sent to do two things. One, to get whoever did this, but number two, to send a large message to the outlying public and to the gangs themselves that it won't be tolerated and the federal government's on their ass.
Do you think the feds getting involved had anything to do with where the murder happened at?
No.
No.
I don't think so. I think it was, it just happened to happen there. You mean like they got involved because it's this affluent area or something?
Yeah, I mean, it happened, in a really rich area. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I would hope not. I would hope that something that happens on, 63rd would get just as much of attention as something that happens on the Gold Coast. But, I can't answer that. I would hope not. But I think it's a much larger effort on the part of the federal government to curb this crap that's going on in Chicago.
Okay, we touched on the grand jury a little bit. Can you describe a grand jury for me again and how it kind of works?
Sure. I've never seen a grand jury because as a lawyer, I'm not allowed into the grand jury room. So basically what a grand jury is, it's a charging body. Okay? So the federal government gets a case in and the Constitution requires that to be charged with a crime, you have to be charged by grand jury. Or you can be charged by complaint initially, but they eventually have to indict you. You can always waive your right to be indicted. But so a grand jury is made up of 18 to 23 people. They serve 6-month to 18-month terms, depending upon what they're investigating. There's only a prosecutor and the witnesses, and the grand jurors themselves get to ask questions. And their only issue, or the only mandate that they have, is once all the evidence is in. And there's no cross-examining by a defense lawyer either. So it's basically one side, and you've heard the old phrase, you can indict a ham sandwich. So you put all this information in front of the grand jury, and they have to decide whether there's probable cause to issue an indictment. Probable cause means it's just more likely true than not true that a crime was committed, and that the person that they're alleging committed it actually committed that crime. So it's our lowest standard. It's just like slightly more true than not true. 50.01% basically. It's our lowest standard.
Okay, so they put the grand jury together. The grand jury votes to indict him?
Correct.
Now, does it have to be a full, all 18 people have to vote for it?
That's a good question. I think it just has to be a majority, but usually they're unanimous.
Gotcha. Okay, so they vote, and then from there, that's when they construct the indictment?
Correct. The prosecutor's got it already written up. And if you look at the back page of it, this copy that I have isn't signed, but it's usually signed by the foreperson and the United States attorney.
Okay. When they eventually get to trial, will they be tried together, or will they be tried separately?
Well, that's a good question. If I'm a defense lawyer, I'd want to sever my ties with the other ones. And, it depends upon, they're going to be tried together. I mean, let's just call, I can't imagine them not being tried together. It's all the same act or occurrence. The only way that there's an issue is if, let's say, one of them gave a statement, okay? You can use that statement against themselves. So if I go in, I get arrested, and I give the cops a statement, that statement can be used against me. But if my son and I get arrested and I give a statement but he doesn't, that statement can't be used in a trial against him. It's a USA versus Bruton. So, and why is that? Because a statement that I give is a statement of a party opponent. In other words, you got the government and me. I made the statement against myself. So, but you can't use it in his trial because it'd be hearsay. So if any one of the co-defendants in this case gave a statement, that would pose some problems for a joint trial. My guess is that none of them gave a statement. Because if there was an admission, you'd probably see it in the indictment.
Okay. Will they get bail?
No. 100% no.
Okay, just because of the crime and what they're being accused of?
Yeah, well, it's a homicide and they're looking at life. And now, I was wrong in NBA Youngboy when he got released. But this isn't like that case. This is so much more serious.
I mean, because I have seen people get bail for murder before.
Not in the feds, you haven't.
Not in the feds. Okay, so there's a big difference between the regular police and the feds.
Yeah, absolutely. A federal judge is not going to take a chance on these guys.
Okay.
So when you have a case like this in federal court, there's a presumption that they're detained. And so, which means the judge has to detain them. So unless the defense has a bond hearing and overcomes that presumption with a condition or set of conditions that would secure their release and protect the public. And this is a homicide with guns and everything. I can't imagine a federal judge releasing them.
Okay. Could any of them be cooperating and we not know it?
Yes.
And so nobody would know?
Right.
Just the FBI and everybody. None of the other people would know.
Right. And even their own defense lawyers wouldn't know until the last minute.
Even their own defense lawyers wouldn't know. Wow.
No. I mean, the defense lawyer of the cooperator would know it, but the other defense lawyers would not know it. And there should be a separation order because these guys are going to be in custody. There should be a separation order keeping all five of them apart.
I see. What would be a credible witness for this type of crime?
Well, somebody that doesn't have an axe to grind. They don't have any dog in the fight. Somebody who probably doesn't have a record. Somebody that doesn't have anything to gain by their testimony. But one of the flip sides about cooperators, you can say, you're hoping to get a reduced sentence for this, right? And blah, blah, blah. Well, the other flip side of that is, what happens if you lie? Well, if you lie, all bets are off and you don't get any benefit of the bargain. So, somebody who's eyewitness, although eyewitness testimony is proven pretty unreliable, somebody who saw them right afterwards and they say, holy fuck, we killed FBG. Yeah, I guarantee you there's people out there that have an admission from these guys that will testify in this case. I guarantee you. I'd be shocked if that wasn't the case.